Hi, and welcome to the Literary Sipper. I'm Amber Beatty Hill, your host. Today we're going to be talking about 3 poems for the times that we find ourselves in. I've spent the last week in a bit of hibernated shock, is the best way I can explain how I've been feeling. And part of my job as artist/mother is to find ways to cope with all of the feelings, the loud and ugly and twisted feelings that I have right now about the world, and channel them into palatable bites for my children so that they're not overwhelmed by the way they're feeling and can look to me for balance. And the way that I find comfort and solace and can tap into emotional spaces is through poetry, both writing but also reading. And I posted a small little Instagram post about how I'll be in my library if you need me, trying to find the right words. And so in this week's episode, I found 3 poems that I think speak to the way that I'm feeling as a woman, the way that I'm feeling as a mother, and the way that I'm feeling as an American, and how all of those feelings link to who I am as an artist. And I think that what we'll do is I will read the poem first, talk about it a little bit, and then move on to the next one. And what I hope for you is that you figure out what provides you with solace. And what I also hope for you is that you can return again and again to words that make you feel hopeful, that make you understand that love is a powerful force, and that you find connection with others who are not like yourself, so that we can begin to bridge some of these divisions that are being flamed and ignited into fires that may be too large for us to put out with mere water. So I'm going to begin with Anne Waldman's poem, Crack in the World, which comes from her book, Skin, Meat, and Bones from 1985. And I selected this one first because for me, this week has been about who I am as a woman and my body and what I'm allowed to do with it. And whose business is it of what I am allowed to do with my own body? And it is also about the misogyny that exists in our culture in hidden ways and in very overt ways. And I think when you hear her words, you'll understand. Crack in the world. I see the crack in the world. My body thinks it, sees the gaping crack in the world. My body does it for me to see. Blood flowing through the body crack. Body, send your rivers to the moon. Body twists me to the source of the moon. It turns me under a wave. It sets up the structure to make a baby, then tears it down again. Architecture of womb body haunting me. Someone is always watching the ancient flow. It doubles up my mind. Ovum not fertilized. I see the crack in the world. Thoughts intersect in the body. He must not keep me down. Let me go my way alone tonight. No man to touch me. A slash in me. I see the slash in the world tonight. It keeps me whole but divides me now. Out on land, to bleed. Out on street, to bleed. In the snow, blood. This is a South American song, scent of oleander. Or this is a cactus song, sing of a blood flower, a rose in the crotch, o collapsible legs. My body enchanted me to this, my body demented to this. It is endometrium shedding. I am compressed in the pressure of my heart. It is life pursuing the crack in the world, between worlds, between thoughts, a vacant breath. Words won't do it, ovum not fertilized. The man hasn't done it. I cover every contingency, the catty one, or Puritan walking in a fecund world. Words sing to me of endometrium collapse. Words go down to my belly, back swelling, to put my body next to the earth. This is periodic. It comes at the full moon. Let me go howling in the night. No man to touch me. Don't fathom my heart tonight. Man, No one wants to be around this factory, this beautiful machine, but I shun your company anyway. My flexible body imagines the crack, body with wings. See the crack in the universe. The curse, glorious curse, is upon me. Don't come to my house. Don't expect me at your door. I'm in my celibacy rags. My anthropocentric heart says there's a crack in the world tonight. It's a long woman's body. It's a break in the cycle of birth and death. It's the rapid proliferation of cells building up to die. I make up the world and kill it again and again. I offer my entrails to the moon, ovum not fertilized, architecture haunting me. Collapsible legs, you must carry the world. You get away from me. You keep your distance. I will overpower you with my scent of life and death. You who came through the crack in my world. You men who came out of me, back off. Words come out of the belly, groaning as the world is pulled apart. Body enchanted to this. Body elaborated on this. Body took the measure of the woman to explain the fierceness of this time, walking on the periphery of the world. And it really is the last few lines that I think link to this world that we find ourselves in right now. Words come out of the belly, groaning as the world is pulled apart, that the body took the measure of the woman to explain the fierceness of this time. This can be so disheartening as we look to yet another female presidential candidate that didn't succeed. And my fear is that this will mean that there won't be another candidate for a while, that the world's misogyny is powerful, and that women haven't supported each other in the way that we need to. And that is the lesson. That is the lesson as women that we need, is that our bodies are political fodder. And we cannot allow words like feminism to be considered negative, demoralizing, anti-family. It isn't anti-family to want rights to your own body, to want equal rights in the workplace, to want equal voice in your government. These are not negative things. These are positive, beautiful things. The second poem that I'll read to you is one that many of you have probably heard already, and I hope you have. It is Good Bones by Maggie Smith. And in this poem, I feel like so many did, and why this poem went viral on the internet, that as a mother, this was what I wanted to say to my children. And it was written in 2016 after the first Trump election, and I think it's equally as resonant right now. Life is short, though I keep this from my children. Life is short, and I've shortened mine in 1,000 delicious, ill-advised ways. 1,000 deliciously ill-advised ways I'll keep from my children. The world is at least 50% terrible, and that's a conservative estimate, though I keep this from my children. For every bird, there is a stone thrown at a bird. For every loved child, a child broken, bagged, sunk in a lake. Life is short, and the world is at least half terrible. And for every kind stranger, there is one who would break you, though I keep this from my children. I am trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor walking through a real shithole chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. I remember reading this in 2016 in Poetry Magazine, I think, or Poetry Foundation, and I was stopped in my tracks, and I sent it to so many people I knew at the time, especially mothers, especially my mother and mothers of the generation above me. It did make me feel seen and made me feel understood, because it is still important to teach our children about kindness and inclusiveness. It is still important to teach our children about empathy and science and all of the values that we have as Americans that we want them to have. It is still important for them to seek out the goodness in people and to hope that they meet more of the goodness and less of the terribleness, as she says. in this very short life. And the final poem I'm going to read today is Nikki Grimes' poem, You Still Dream. She's a best-selling author. Her book, Ordinary Hazards, came out in 2019, just won so many awards, and it was a beautiful book. But this is the lens that I want to offer here is the one as American and as an American artist as well. So it is entitled You Still Dream, and it came out in 2020. Here, poem meets prayer. We are exceedingly comfortable with posturing and self-defense that masquerade as apology. But what's needed in this moment is unmixed confession of our nation's sin, deep and indefensible. Now I lay me down to sleep, must make way for something more muscular, sackcloth and ashes, prayer and fasting, naked prostration. Daniel understood radical repentance begins with this unvarnished profession. You are righteous and we are not. Please hear our nation. Cleanse our stubborn hearts. Show each of us what part to play. Broken as Judah and Jerusalem, we cry and come bending our will toward the good you dream for us still. No matter our sin, no matter what skin we're in. I have so many thoughts about this poem, and this is when I miss having a classroom of teenagers to hear what they think of it. But I think the final lines are the ones that I would hope stay with you. Come bending our will toward the good you dream for us still, no matter our sin, no matter what skin we're in. And I will have all of these poems linked for you in the show notes so you can read them. And I urge you to try to find the poets reading their own poems, as that is the most powerful way to ingest poetry. It is meant to be heard. It is meant to be felt in your body, the rhythm of the words, just as much a part of it as the lyrics themselves. And in this gray November rainy day here in Seattle, I wish you peace. Above all, I wish you peace no matter how you have to find it. Thanks for listening to The Literary Sipper. I hope you enjoyed this episode and learned something new. If you did, please subscribe and leave a rating and review if you're feeling especially generous. Until next time, keep reading, keep writing, and keep putting your voice in the world. It's waiting for you.